Hello class! I pray that you are all safe and warm together with your family. Good morning, naimbag daw, maayong buntag, bonjour, ohayo gozaimasu, annyeonghaseyo, magandang umaga sa inyong lahat, nawa ay maayos kayong lahat kasamang inyong mga mahal sa buhay sa inyong tahanan. Welcome to our tutorial regarding active and passive voice of the verb. Yes, you heard it right. Our action verbs or verbs also has a voice, and that is either active voice and passive voice. The same characteristics as a voice, it has a source. So, action words has a source. Sino ang gumawa nun? Who is the doer of that action? And that doer, somebody will receive that action. So, this characteristics of verb shows whether the voice of the verb is in active voice and in passive voice. So before we continue discussing that one, I'd like you to fill in the following sentences. Okay, so this is Brittany. Brittany lives near the school. Now, if she lives near the school, how does Brittany go home every day? So, how does she go home if she lives near the school? Ano ba yung near? Malapit. So, how do you go home if you are living near at school? Okay, so Brittany walks home every day. She only walks because the school is near from their house. Next one. How are the flowers growing in the backyard? So, looking at the photo in here, how's the flowers? What can you say about them? The flowers. So, what can you say about the flowers? The flowers are growing well in the backyard. See? They are growing well. Next one, what will be the effect of video games on many active sports children? So before, children are very active in sports. But now, because of video games, what happened? They just stay home and play video games, no? But now we are thankful because of this media or because of this technology. There are many things that we can do at home, right? Okay, so anyway, so video games blank many active sports among children. So what happened? What will happen? So video games will replace many active sports children. So before, they are active in sports, but now they are playing video games. I hope after the pandemic, still, you become active in sports, no? Even at home, if you can, class, try to be active in sports. As I've said, I encourage you to wake up early, have an exercise and breakfast before your online classes so that your mind will be active and your body will be healthy, na? Okay, so in the following sentences that we had, no, let's identify the subject and the verb again. No? So, Brittany walks home every day. Again, as what we have said, the subject is the one that is being talked about in the sentence. Yung pinag-uusapan sa pangungusap, subject. It is either a noun or a pronoun. While the verb or the predicate tells something about the subject. It tells either the action or the state of being of the subject. So, subject and verb completes our sentence, na? Okay, so in here, Brittany walks home every day. Who walks home every day? Who does our sentence talk about? It is Brittany. So, Brittany is our subject. And what about Brittany? What does she do? She walks home every day. So, beginning from your verb, that is your predicate. No? So, subject and predicate is what makes up our sentence. Subject and predicate that expresses complete thought, idea, or meaning. Na? So, in here, Brittany walks home every day. Subject is Brittany. Verb is walks. Next one, the flowers are growing well in our backyard. So again, what are we talking about here? What's our subject? We are talking about the flowers. And what about the flowers? They are growing well in our backyard. Therefore, this is our subject and this is our predicate. And what is our verb? The flowers are growing. So again, the verb is an action word or state of being verb. So in here, our verb is an action verb and that is are growing. So if you notice in here, our verb is one word verb. Now, sometimes a verb is one word, two word, or verb phrase. So in this case, this is a one word verb. This is an example of a verb phrase. A verb phrase is a combination of a helping verb and main verb. Okay? So the verb and then the rest of the sentence, from there, it creates the predicate of the sentence. So the subjects are, the flowers are growing. That's our subject and verb. Okay, next one. Video games will replace many active sports among children. What will replace active sports? That is video games. So this is our subject. What is our verb? Again, will replace. So this one is in the form of a verb phrase. Okay, helping verb and main verb. Now, so it is asked in here, did the subject perform the action? So who walks home every day? Did the subject perform the action? Yes. What is growing well in the backyard? Is it the flowers? Yes. What will replace many active sports among children? Is it the video games? Yes. Okay. All of this one, the subject performed the actions indicated by the verbs walks, are growing, will replace. Therefore, the subject are in the active voice. Na? So, let's see. Brittany walks. The flowers are growing. The video games will replace. In here, the subject does or performs the action indicated by the verb. Therefore, the voice of these verbs are in the active voice. Why active? Because the subjects performs or does the actions indicated by the verbs. Again, when do we say that the voice of the verb is in the active voice? The voice of the verb is in the active voice when the subject does or performs the action indicated by the verb. The verb is in the active voice. Again, class, everybody, say it again. When do we say that the voice of the verb is in the active voice? Very good. Okay, so again, the voice of the verb is active when the subject performs or does the action indicated by the verb in the sentence. Okay, now, so let's have more examples of sentences that are in the active voice. Again, active voice is if the subject does or performs the action indicated by the verb. First example, she makes an overseas call. Can you tell me now what is the subject? Subject, she. And what is the verb? Makes. Okay, did the subject perform the action? She makes. What does she makes? Overseas call. So, active voice. Next one, Filipinos, Americans, the world are watching the event live on TV. In here, what is or what are our subjects? We have Filipinos, Americans, the world. So in this case, no, there are times, as what we can see in some example sentences, no, our subject is more than one. It can be a word, compound. In this case, we have more than one subject connected by commas. Now, what are the subjects? Filipinos, Americans, the world. What about them? They are watching the event live on TV. What are they watching? They are watching the event. Who are watching the event? Filipinos, Americans, the world. So, did the subject perform the action Yes, it is. No? So, therefore, this sentence again is in the active voice. Next, number 3. We have been searching for our true identity. In here, what is the subject or who is the subject? We. And what is the verb? Okay, have been searching. Yan. So, in this one, the example of the verb is in a verb phrase form. Again, until we reach the main verb, lahat yon kasama sa ating verb phrase. No? So, our verb phrase in here is have been searching. Okay? So, what we have been searching? We have been searching for our true identity. This is what we are searching. And who is searching for their true identity? We. So, did the subject we perform the action? Yes. So, therefore, the subjects in these sentences perform the action indicated by the verbs. What are the verbs? Makes, are watching, and have been searching. Therefore, these sentences are in the active voice. Okay. So now, let us compare the following sentences. So as what we have said earlier, all the sentences are in the active voice simply because the subjects perform the action indicated by the verb. The subject is, or the doer is in the subject. What did she make? She make an overseas call. What did they watch? They watched the event. What have we been searching? We have been searching for our true identity. Okay, so now let us go with this second column in here. No? So all these are in the active voice. Now, how about this one? She makes an overseas call. What happened here? The call is made by her. Filipinos, Americans, the world are watching the event live on TV. What happened here? The event is being watched by Filipinos, Americans, the world live on TV. We have been searching for our true identity. True identity has been searched by us. Okay. So what did you notice on the sentences on the first column and the sentences on the second column? What did you observe? Can you compare? What makes them different from each other? Okay. So in the first column, the performer or doer of the action are found in the subject. But in these sentences, are the performers or doers still found in the subject? No, it's not found in the subject anymore. Where can we find the doer? The call is made by her. Where is the doer? It is found in the object or in the predicate. The event is being watched by Filipinos, Americans, the world. The performer doer is found in the predicate or in the object. True identity has been searched by us. Yun, there is our doer again. Now, what happened to our subject? If the performer or doer are found in the predicate or in the object, how about the subject? What became the subject? The call is made by her. What did she made? She made the call. So therefore, in this sentence, the subject did not perform the action. Rather, the subject this time is a receiver of the action. What did she made? She made a call. Who made the call? The call was made by her. The performer or doer is in the object, while in the subject is not performer, rather the subject is only a receiver. What did she watch? She watched the event. What are they watching? What was watched? The event was watched, is being watched. Okay? So therefore, the subject again is not performer, rather it is receiver of the action. What has been searched? True identity has been searched. Okay? So let's see that one. So in this example sentences this time around, na, in here, the subject does or performs the action indicated by the verbs, therefore the verbs are in the active voice. But this time, in these sentences, in column number 2, the subject did not perform the action. Rather, the subject only receives the actions indicated by the verbs in the sentence. Therefore, the voice of the verb is in the passive voice. It's only passive. Okay? So again, when do we say that the voice of the verb is passive voice? The voice of the verb is in the passive voice when the subject receives the action indicated by the verb. The verb is in the passive voice. Okay, again, everybody say that again. When do we say that the voice of the verb is in the passive voice? The voice of the verb is in the passive voice. Okay, very good. So, the subject is receiver of the action. Now, what else did you notice? Okay, what else? Compare the sentences. Aside from it was interchanged, the subject, the doer here went to the object and the receiver here went to the subject. What else did you notice? Okay. So there is also a difference on the verb form, right? So in here, what happened to our verb? Makes became is made. Are watching became is being watched. Have been searching became has been searched. Okay, most of the verbs are in the active voice are in simple form, while verbs in the passive voice are in the verb phrase form, in the past participle form. Okay? Let's identify first what verb form are they. This one is simple present. What happened? It became okay. Simple present progressive. What happened? Okay. This one. Have been searching. What verb phrase what verb form is this one? Have been searching. This one is perfect. Perfect, present perfect progressive. Present perfect progressive, what happened? Okay, so this one, there's still like that one, and then the searching became searched. So most of the verb in here, as you can see, became in the past participle form of the verb. Na? Okay, so that's it. That's another change. There's a change in the form of the verb. The subject doer here went to the object, and the receiver in the active voice became the subject. Yan. So that's another point of difference of active and passive voice. No? Okay, another thing that you observed. Okay, so in here, the doer is introduced by what we call we call it a by phrase, no? So it becomes a prepositional phrase. The doer is introduced by. The call is made by her. The event is being watched by Filipinos, Americans around the world live on TV. So it's introduced by. Okay, so that's it. That's another one. That's another difference. So again, the subject here is performer, the subject here is receiver. There's a change of the verb, and in the passive voice it uses the by phrase to introduce the doer of the action. Okay, what else do you notice? Other difference between active and passive voice? Okay, so most likely, those are the general differences between the two. Na? So now let us go with the basic rules on verb forms in active and passive voice. So how do we do it? So basically, we identify. Okay, so let's go back again. Na? In here, we identify if the subject does or performs or receive the action. If it is performer, then active voice. But if the subject is receiver, then that is in the passive voice. So next off is you look at the form of the verb. So for active voice, the simple form. For passive voice, verb phrase form. Okay? But most likely, they are match with each other. Simple, simple, progressive, progressive. So let's go back to this one. So for present tense, okay, again, depending on the subject, for singular, we S form. For plural, base form. So meaning wala yung S, diba? Okay. So for present tense, she chooses book. So choose or chooses book. So what will happen in here? So depending on the subject, whether singular or plural, our helping verb will be dependent on what type of subject we have. If it is singular, we use is. If plural, are. If the subject is I, then the helping verb will be am. But all of the verbs are in the past participle form. Ano yung past participle form? The third form of the verb. So if we have present, past participle form, yung pangatlo tayo palagi, no? Okay, for example, write, wrote, written. So write, present, wrote, past tense, written, past participle form. Dun tayo sa pangatlo, past participle form. So, kagaya nito, choose, ang past tense niya chose, ang past participle niya chosen. So, ang gagamitin lagi dito is the past participle form. Only the past participle form of the verb, the third form of the verb. So, present, linking verb in the present tense, and then the past participle form of your main verb. So, it became book is chosen by her. Again, babaliktarin mo siya. So, in here, the subject is performer or doer, and then in the object, we find the receiver, right? So, she, what about she? She chooses book. So, dito, mababaliktad na siya sa passive. Book is chosen by whom? By her. Another thing that you notice in here, so whatever is our subject, it can possibly change in the object form, especially if it is a pronoun. For a pronoun, from noun, from subject form, we're gonna use the object form, na? So, for example, she, its object form is her. He, him. They, magiging them. And so on and so forth, no? So, we have to be careful also on that one, no? That's another change also that is possible to happen. Things that are in the subject form here, if we transfer it under the object, then it will become in the object form also, whatever its equivalent, no? Okay, let's proceed with the past form. So, past form, this one is the past form. So, what are the helping verbs that we're gonna use is helping verb in the past na was or were. Was if the subject is singular, where if the subject is plural. So, since this is singular, so we use was. So, was chosen by her. Na? Will choose, that's the future tense of the verb, will plus the base form of the verb. So, anong mangyayari lang dito? We're gonna add only the be, and then again, the base form of the verb, the main verb will become in the past participle form. Na? So, she will choose book. So, it will become book will be chosen by her. Present perfect. So, present perfect. Pag sinabing perfect, ito yung mga gumagamit ng has, have, had. Pag present perfect, it uses has, have, chosen. So, usually, pag mga perfect tenses, it is already in the past participle form. So, here, has or have chosen. So, again, dito, gagamit lang tayo o dadagdag lang tayo ng been. Okay? We're just gonna add been. It is constant for perfect tenses. So, book has been chosen by her. Again, depending on the subject, if it is plural, books have been chosen by her. So, pag bumaliktad na siya, di ba? Okay. Past perfect. So, pag past naman, the helping verb is had. Had chosen. So, again, we're just gonna add been. So, book had been chosen by her. So, in here, as you notice, in the passive, mas mahaba yung verb form natin. No? Meron tayong mga salitang dinadagdag. Okay. Past perfect, yun na nga, had. For future perfect, so there's the word will, have. That is constant. She will have chosen book. So, it will become she will have chosen book. Okay, so whether the subject is singular or plural, this one is constant. Hindi to nababago. Okay? Will have. Okay, next one, present progressive. So, present meaning the helping verbs that it uses are is, are, am, and then progressive or continuous. The main verb is in the ing form. Ing, for example, standing, cooking, eating, driving, choosing, walking. So, those are the progressive tense forms of the verb, the verbs that are in the ing form, okay? So, present progressive, for example, am working, is working, are working. So, yun. Helping verb, present, and then ing form of the verb. So, anong mangyayari dito? So, again, linking verb in the present tense is, are, am, depending on the subject. If singular, is. If plural, are. If I, am. So, gagamit lang tayo ng being, ing, to indicate progressive tense. And then, again, the main verb always is in the past participle form. Okay? Next, past progressive tense form of the verb, past. Ibig sabihin, the helping verbs are was or were. Was if the subject is singular and were if the subject is plural. And then progressive, ganun pa rin. ing is the form of your main verb. For example, was working, were talking, and so on and so forth. So what do? The same. We use the past form of helping verb and then the being to indicate progressive tense, and then the main verb, we use the past participle form of the verb. Constant yan pagdating sa passive. Always the past participle form ang ginagamit natin. Okay, so that's it, no? In the basic rules of forming active voice to the passive voice, no? Aside from here, the subject performs the action. Here, the subject receives the action. The form of the verb, we have to be aware of what is the form of the verb in the sentence from active voice to passive voice. And if it is from passive voice to active voice, so from verb phrase, it will become simple form. So the other way around. Okay. So again, the by phrase, when a sentence is in the passive voice, it may or may not identify the agent of the verb. Sometimes, so sabi nga natin, kapag active voice, we are emphasizing the doer. Sino yung gumawa? That's why we use the active voice. But in the passive voice, we are emphasizing the receiver who will receive the action. Therefore, the more important part of the sentence is the receiver. That's why we use the passive voice of the verb. Sometimes, so if that is the case, sometimes the doer is not identified, no? The agent or the doer is not identified in the sentence, no? So when it does not specify the agent, the preposition by is used. Okay. If it is specifying the doer, we use the word by, 'di ba? But there are times we do not specify anymore the doer. It's okay if we're not gonna specify. Ngayon, paano mangyayari pagka active voice gagawin mong passive voice? You will supply you will supply a suitable or possible doer to make it in the active voice. No? So, for example, Ernest Hemingway wrote the book. The book was written by Ernest Hemingway. So, pwede siyang, the book was written, period. Pwede na yun siya. It's understandable already, di ba? Kasi, andun na yung subject mo, andun na rin yung predicate mo. Okay, so which means that the doer in passive voice is not that given emphasis, no? But if you're going to form it into the active voice from passive to active, you have to supply the agent of the action. So Ernest Hemingway wrote the book. A group of Stanford math professor will conduct the research. The research will be conducted. Pwede na yan. O conducted by a group of Stanford math professors. Last week, a powerful earthquake hit Seattle. So last week, Seattle was hit by a powerful earthquake. So pwede na kahit wala yan. Seattle was hit. Period. Pwede na yan. Again, because the emphasis in here is the receiver and not the doer of the action. Now, if in case that you would like to indicate the doer, then you supply the agent or specify the agent using the word by in the passive voice, and if it is formed in the active voice, then the subject will be, the doer will be found in the subject. Okay. Now, so let us try to identify the verb forms in here. Is it correct? Okay. So in here, past tense. So what happened? Subject singular, so we use was, and then the past participle form of wrote. So this one is correct. Will conduct, future, simple future. So what will happen again? So we use will plus be and then form the main verb into its past participle form. Will be conducted. A powerful earthquake hit. What form of the verb is this? It is past tense. Na? So, hit Seattle. So, Seattle was hit by a powerful earthquake. Okay, very good. So, again, when do we use the passive form of the verb? The active form is used when often than the passive voice. Active voice is used than the passive voice more often because it is clearer to understand who does the action and because you use fewer words to convey the same message. On the other hand, you also should use the passive voice when the agent performing the action is not known or not known or not mentioned. Na? For example, all flights were canceled due to terrible weather conditions. So it was not mentioned who is the performer of the action. So we use the passive voice. So the receiver here is the subject. So therefore it is in the passive voice. All flights were canceled. When you want to focus more on the object rather than the subject, of course, we also use the passive form. Example, the president was killed. Receiver of the action, doer of the action was not indicated anymore, no? So, we use the passive form of the verb. Okay, so let's have more examples, no? So, again, simple present, am, is, are, and then use the past participle form. The class is taught. Yan. So, minsan, it is not a irregular verb, no? It's not a regular verb wherein we add only D and ED, so we have to be careful with that one. We have to be familiar with the past participle forms of verb by Mr. C. Simple past, we use again was or were plus the past participle form. The class was taught by Mr. C. Simple future, so will be, and then the past participle form. The class will be taught by Mr. C. Am, is, are going to be, ano to? Progressive. Present progressive form. The class is going to be taught by Mr. C. Present perfect. Ito yung may mga has, have. So, has, have been, di ba? Dadagdag natin yan. Past participle form. The class has been taught. Past perfect. So, had. And then the past participle form of the verb. So, again, we add only the been. Had been, And then the past participle form. The class had been taught by Mr. C. Future perfect. Will have, and then the past participle form. Will have been. So, dadagdag lang natin ulit ito. Okay. Present progressive. So, again, am, is, are, and then the verb ing. So, again, ang mangyayari pag sa passive, we're gonna add being. And then form the verb into its past participle form. The class is being taught by Mr. C. Past progressive was where. And then ing form. So, ano mangyayari sa passive? We're going to add being to indicate progressive, and then the main verb will be formed in the past participle form. The class was being taught by Mr. C. Okay, let's practice. So, identify the voice of the verb in the following sentences. Change the active sentence to passive, and vice versa. Na? Okay, so for example here, his bizarre behavior was ridiculed by his peers. In here, what is the subject? What are we talking about? We're talking about his bizarre behavior. Yung kanyang kakaibang ugali. His bizarre behavior. What about it? It was ridiculed. Ridiculed by whom? Ridiculed by his peers. Subject, his bizarre behavior. Verb, was ridiculed. Now, let's see. Subject, did it perform or receive the action? It received the action. Now, who is the doer of the action? By his peers. Ayan, may by pa tayo dyan. No? So, the doer here is found in the object. Therefore, what is the voice of the verb if the subject here is receiver? The answer is passive voice. Okay. So, now, if we're going to transform it, what will happen? So, this will be our subject. So, his peers, so what is our verb? Was ridiculed. What tense of the verb is this one? Past tense. So, from passive, we're going to make it into active. So, ibabalik natin sa active, no? So, it will become his peers, simple past tense, kasi past tense yan. So, his peers ridiculed, ano yung ridicule? Ano yung receiver? His bizarre behavior. Okay. So, that's the answer. His bizarre behavior was ridiculed by his peers. So, it's passive voice. To make it active, so the doer, his peers. So, simple past. And then, receiver will be here. His bizarre behavior. Did you get it, class? I hope so. Okay, let's go with the second example. The man was given a harsh sentence by the judge. Subject. So, most likely, the subject is found at the beginning of the sentence, diba, class? So, subject here is the man. What about the man? So, yun yung verb natin. So, lahat yan, predicate. So, was given a harsh sentence by the judge. So, the man, what about the man? He was given, siya ay binigyan. Anong binigay sa kanya? A harsh sentence. Sinintensyahan siya. Sinong nagsintensya sa kanya? The judge. Okay. So, in here, what is the voice of our verb? So, the man, subject, performer or receiver of the action? Did he perform the action or received? He received the action. Siya yung makakatanggap. He was given harsh sentence. Siya yung receiver ng action. Therefore, this is again in the passive voice. Sino yung doer? Sino yung nagbigay ng harsh sentence? Yung judge, no? So again, as you can see, the doer is found at the predicate, no? So therefore, since the subject here did not perform the action, rather it only received the action, so the voice of the verb is in the passive voice, no? So now, let's transform it from passive voice. We're gonna give it back to active voice. So, who is the doer? The judge. Okay, so the judge Ano yung form ng verb natin? Was given. Anong tense of the verb nga ulit ito? This is simple past. So, gagawin natin simple past tense itong ating main verb. What is the simple past tense of given? The answer is gave, 'di ba? Give present tense, gave past tense, given ang past participle form niya. So ang gagamitin natin yung simple past kasi simple past yung indication dito. No? So the judge gave ano yung binigay? O, sino yung binigyan? Sino yung receiver? Gave the man a harsh sentence or gave a harsh sentence to the man. So, pwede rin yun. Either way, that is both correct. Na? So, let's see. The judge gave the man a harsh sentence. Again, always remember to begin with a capital letter and end with a period. Pagka hindi ganyan, mali po tayo. So, always be conscious with your correct construction of your sentence. Next example. Everybody read. Okay, the wildlife sanctuary protects endangered species. In here, what is our subject? The subject is the wildlife sanctuary. What is the verb? Protects. What does it protect? It protects endangered species. Okay, so our subject, the wildlife sanctuary, protects. So did the subject performed or received the action? The wildlife sanctuary protects. Who are they protecting? Endangered species. So, did the subject perform or receive the action? The subject performed the action. Siya yung nagproprotekta. Sino yung pinoprotektahan niya? Endangered species. Na wildlife sanctuary protects endangered species. So, the subject performs the action. So, what is the voice of the verb? It is in the active voice. Now, why active voice? Because the subject performs the action indicated by the verb. Na? So, what is it protecting? Endangered species. So, now, this time, from active voice, we're going to transform it to passive voice. So, sino yung receiver natin ulit ng action? Yung endangered species. So, what will happen? Endangered species. Ano yung verb natin? Nasaan yung verb natin ulit? Protects. What form of verb is protects? It is simple present. Simple present tense. Protects with S kasi singular ito, 'di ba? Pag singular with S, pagka plural, base form walang S, no? So, it is in the present tense. Ibig sabihin, active to passive, gagamit tayo ng helping verb in the present tense. Linking verb in the present tense. Is, are, or am. Okay. Endangered species, subject natin sa passive voice. It is plural. So, what helping verb are we going to use? Is, are, or am? The answer is are. No, bakit are? Why are? Because endangered species is plural. So, endangered species are anong past participle form ng protects? Are protected by the wildlife sanctuary. Okay, let's see. Endangered species are protected by the wildlife sanctuary. The wildlife sanctuary protects, so present tense, are endangered species. Endangered species are protected. So the verb became in the past form kasi nga this is the passive voice. By whom? Who is the doer? By the wildlife sanctuary. No? So that's it. No? That's active voice and passive voice. Active, subject performs the action. Passive, subject receives the action. The form of the verb in active is simple form. In the passive, it becomes verb phrase. And in the passive, the subject most often is introduced by the by phrase. Okay. Now, let's have more examples. No? Since we have different kinds of sentences, no? Sometimes also there's even a question. Okay, so whatever you will be able to encounter, you can be able to identify them, whether active voice, passive voice, and how do we form them correctly, especially the verb forms. Now, let's see these examples. Present simple tense, passive voice, auxiliary verb in passive voice, am, is, are. Okay, never mind that. Example, he sings a song, present simple. Verb sings, so gagamit tayo is, are, am, no? He, a song, is, singular kasi siya, is, and then past participle form of sings is sang. Sing, sang, sang, diba? This one is the past participle form. Sung by him. He does not sing a song. He, subject, does not sing. Negative. Okay. What does he sing? Does not sing is it does not sing a song. So this will be the receiver. A song is not, so pag negative doon, syempre negative pa rin dito, is not sung by him. Since it's negative, no? Does he sing a song? Does he, subject, sing, present tense, no? Is a song sung by him? Present continuous. I am writing a letter. Am writing, progressive. Present continuous. A letter is, so singular, so is being to indicate continuous, written by me. So yung I natin naging object form me dito. I am not writing a letter. So negative ulit siya. So a letter is not being written, kasi progressive siya, is not being written by me. Am I writing a letter? So question form, babaliktarin mo since letter is singular. So is a letter being written? Again, bakit being? Kasi continuous. Being written by me. Present perfect. Okay, so has, have, tapos past participle form yun. She has finished his work. Present perfect. So her work, she has finished his work. Her work has been finished by her. Mali. His work to, dapat is his. His work has been finished by her. Kasi siya yung tumapos, diba? She has not finished her work. Negative, has finished is present perfect. So, her work has not been, so dadagdagan lang natin again ng been kapag ka-perfect tenses. Finished by her. So, yung she natin magiging her. Has she finished her work? She finished. Has. So, present ulit yan. Question form nga lang. So, has she finished her work? Has. So, dun tayo ulit. Kasi singular naman yung her work eh. Has her work been finished by her? Kasi they're both, feminine. Okay, again, we add only the been. Okay, for past simple tense, I killed a snake. Past tense naman to. So, again, gagamit tayo ng was, where. A snake, singular, kaya was killed by me. I did not kill a snake. Did not, negative. A snake, negative, past tense, yan. So, was not killed by me. Did I kill a snake? Okay, ang verb natin, did, past tense pa rin. So, we're gonna use was, kasi past tense siya. Bakit was? Kasi snake is singular. Was a snake killed by me? Okay, past continuous, ibig sabihin, was, where, tapos ing ang ginamit. So, he was driving a car. Was driving. Past continuous. A car. A car was being driven. So, again, ing to indicate continuous. And then, the form of the verb, we're gonna form it into the past participle form. Tapos, yung he, naging him, kasi naging object form siya. He was not driving a car, negative form. So, a car was not being driven by him. Again, bakit gumamit ng being? Laging gagamit ng being kapag ing form tayo. Was he driving a car? Singular. He was past continuous. So, was a car being, again, continuous, driven by him. They had completed the assignments. Ito naman ay past perfect. So, gumagamit ng had. Okay? They had completed the assignment. So, again, gagamit lang tayo ng been. Balik ta rin. So, the assignment had been completed by, eto na siya, them. They had not completed the assignment. Negative. What did they not complete? The assignment. So, the assignment had not been completed by them. Had not been completed. Oh, kulang ng letter D dito. Okay. Had they completed the assignment? Question form. Had, past, perfect. So, assignment ang hindi na complete. So, whether singular, plural, had ang ginagamit natin. So, had the assignment been completed by them? So, we add only them. Okay. Next one's the future naman. She will buy a car. Simple future tense. Will buy what? A car. So, a car will be. So, gagamit lang tayo. Again, we're gonna add the be only. Will be, and then the main verb into the past participle form. Bought. Buy. So, the she becomes her. She will not buy a car. Negative. Future. So, a car will not be bought. Kasi gagamit pa rin tayo ng be, tapos the main form will be bought. Of course, by her. Will she buy a car? Future tense. So, will a car be, and then the past participle form, bought by her. Okay. Future perfect tense, you will have started the job. Future perfect, you will have. Will, future, have, perfect. So, future perfect na yan, di ba? Okay, so again, the job, baliktarin na natin, the job will have been. So, dadagdagan lang natin ng been. The job will have been started by you. So, pareho siya kapag you. Same siya ng subject and object form. You will have not started the job. Negative form, future perfect. Okay, so the job will not have been. So dito, again, lagi dadagdagan lang natin ng been sa passive voice of the verb. Have not been started by you. Will you have started the job? Question mark. Will, future, and then perfect. So again, we're just gonna add the been. Baliktarin lang natin. Will the job, so whether singular or plural, have ang gagamitin natin doon, di ba? Will the job have been, dadagdag natin yung been, have been started by you? Will the job have been started by you? Yan. So let's see this one. Okay, so there's an activity here. Let's see the correct answer. He teaches English. Present. English is taught by him. The child is eating. Present progressive. Bananas. Bananas, plural. Are being eaten. Progressive. She is writing a letter. Is writing. Present progressive. So, a letter is being. Yan, progressive. Written by her. The master punished the servant. Punish, past tense. So, the servant was punished by the master. Singular, servant. So, was. He was writing a book. Was past progressive or past continuous. So, a book was being continuous written by him. He wrote this letter. Who wrote this letter? Question form. So, question form. This letter was written, kasi past tense, was written by whom? Again, if it's a question this time, don't forget your question mark. Somebody cooks meal every day. Cooks, present tense. Okay, so meal, present tense siya. Meal is singular, cooked by someone every day. He wore, past tense naman to. So, past naman ang gagamitin nating helping verb. A blue shirt. A blue shirt was worn by him. May God bless you with happiness. Ito naman, wish. Na, sino yung nag-wish? Hindi na sinasabi kung sino nag-wish. Na? So, okay, so what are we gonna do in here? May God bless you. Ikaw yung gustong ma-bless. So, babalik na rin mo. May you be blessed. So, kasi present tense to eh. So, kailangan mo ng helping verb in the present tense. So, you yung subject natin. So, you be blessed. So, the past participle form of blessed, blessed with happiness. They are building a house. Are building, present, progressive, or continuous. A house. A house is singular, is being built by them. I have finished the job. The job have finished. Present perfect. Present perfect. So, the job singular has been, ayan, kasi perfect, finished by me. I sent the report yesterday. Sent past tense, so was or were. Report singular, kaya was ang gagamitin natin. So, the report was sent yesterday. She bought a diamond necklace. Bought, past tense. So, a diamond necklace was bought by her. Somebody had stolen my purse. Somebody had stolen, past perfect. Past perfect. So, gagamit tayo ng had been, di ba? My purse had been stolen by somebody. Many of the stars perform concerts for their favorite charity. Perform, ano to? Present. So, is, are, am. Ano ba yung pinerform? Concerts, plural. So, are ang gagamitin natin. Concerts are performed by whom? By many of the stars for their charity. So, this one naman from passive and so on. So, but that's too much already. So, I hope that you have learned a lot in this lesson regarding active and passive voice. Again, active voice, when the subject is doer of the action, that's in the active voice, and passive voice when the subject is receiver of the action. So again, verb are action words and they are in different forms. So make sure that you are familiar with the different forms of the verb. So, from simple form to passive form, or from passive form to active form. So, with that, God bless you. You may now answer your activities. Bye!